We have all heard the pop psychology rule. The left side of your brain handles the cold, hard math, and the right side paints the pictures. But anatomically, that is completely false. Inside your head right now, you actually have emotional centers and thinking centers operating in both hemispheres. No one knows the physical borders of these brain modules better than Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor. She is a trained neuroanatomist who spent her early career mapping out the literal cellular boundaries of human consciousness. At Harvard Medical School, her daily work involves slicing through brain tissue to figure out exactly how different neuronal circuits wired together to create our perception of reality. But deep inside her own left hemisphere, there was a hidden physical defect. She was born with an arterial venous malformation. This is a condition where a high-pressure artery pumps blood directly into a low-pressure vein, completely bypassing the capillary network. On the morning of December 10, 1996, that unbuffered connection finally blew. Blood began pooling into the delicate tissue of her left hemisphere, shutting down her brain cells region by region. For a normal person, this is a sudden medical emergency. For a Harvard neuroanatomist, it was a rare biological window. As her left brain went offline, she got to observe exactly what happens to human consciousness when half of its hardware is forcefully unplugged. The breakdown started with her physical perception. Stepping into the shower, she looked down at her arm and realized she could no longer define where her body ended and the environment began. Her biological boundary dissolved, blending into the atoms and molecules of the wall. Soon after, her right arm fell totally paralyzed by her side. When she finally managed to coordinate her body to call for help, her language centers were gone. To the person on the other end of the phone, her attempts to speak sounded like a barking dog. Losing control of your body and your voice should trigger massive panic. Yet, as this happened, she felt zero terror. Instead, she was overwhelmed by an expansive, beautiful euphoria. This lack of terror was a direct consequence of her neuroanatomy. Fear is a localized biological function of the brain. With those specific cells drowning in blood, the hardware required for panic simply ceased to function. Only peace remained. To understand why her fear vanished, we must map out the physical structure of the mind. Dr. Taylor explains that human consciousness is not one unified blob. It is generated by 4 distinct modules of cells operating simultaneously. This diagram shows the specific territories of those modules. First is left thinking. This group of cells is responsible for your language, projecting timelines into the past and future, and maintaining your ego, the singular identity that makes you, you. Directly below that is left emotion. This is your defense system. It scans your past traumas to generate fear and enforces tribalism, constantly dividing the world into us versus them. Left emotion operates on a strict feedback loop. It takes whatever is happening right now and rapidly compares it to everything that has ever hurt you. It actively manufactures stress to keep you safe from a perceived threat. When the hemorrhage knocked out these 2 left-sided characters, Dr. Taylor lost her ability to plan for the future, her capacity to trigger a stress response, and even the basic knowledge of her own name. She was entirely disconnected from the physical reality of being an individual. With the left hemisphere offline, she was left entirely in the hands of the right hemisphere. This diagram shows right emotion. This module does not care about the past or the future. It solely processes the pure physical sensation of the present moment, what the air feels like on your skin, or the movement of your muscles. Finally, there is right thinking. This character operates completely free of right and wrong judgments. It is the cellular center for collective wisdom, awe, and a deep sense of connection to the rest of the universe. While the left brain looks at someone with a different skin hue or language and perceives a tribal threat, the right brain sees them entirely differently. It strips away the differences and processes new people through pure curiosity and a deep desire for connection. The profound peace Dr. Taylor experienced during her stroke is a hardwired biological network sitting inside your right hemisphere, waiting to be accessed. Modern culture heavily incentivizes the specific traits of left thinking. We disproportionately reward the relentless hustle, the pursuit of profit, and the rigid, linear structures that this specific module of cells thrives on. This imbalance has deep historical roots. Following the end of World War II, entire nations had to adopt a highly pragmatic, organized, and disciplined left brain approach just to survive and rebuild. The resulting new global power structures demanded control. The global value system became permanently wired to the left brain's hyper-focus on accumulating resources and maintaining superiority. This generational shift follows a change in how we process information. While older generations learned math through rote, linear memorization, younger generations were taught using spatial visuals, like 2 chickens plus 2 goats. By prioritizing image-based context over abstract symbols, this educational shift physically stimulated the right hemisphere's experiential modules earlier in development. To maintain control, our existing structures constantly poke at left emotion. Algorithmic feeds, political polarization, and 24-hour news cycles are explicitly designed to trigger your threat response circuitry, keeping you locked in an us versus them loop. Chronic burnout and extreme societal polarization are predictable biological symptoms. They occur when a system treats the right brain's inherent need for play and presence as an inefficient waste of time. It took Dr. Taylor 8 years of intensive surgery and rehabilitation to rebuild her left hemisphere's language and logic circuits. But as she regained her identity, she consciously refused to surrender the peace she had found in her right brain. Sharing this specific neurophilosophy elevated her to massive global influence, landing her a spot as one of the most influential people in the world. This diagram illustrates the biological rules she uses for emotional control. When you have a triggering thought, your brain dumps a chemical response into your bloodstream. From the moment that thought occurs to the moment those chemicals completely flush out of your system, it takes exactly 90 seconds. Remaining angry, stressed, or jealous after that 90-second window closes is no longer an automatic physical reaction. It means your left emotion character is actively choosing to rethink the triggering thought, continually restarting the chemical loop. You don't have to suffer a massive hemorrhage to access the quiet space in your mind. True freedom is recognizing when your left brain is stuck in a loop, pausing for 90 seconds to let the chemicals clear, and consciously choosing to step back into the genius and connection of your right hemisphere.